So let's move on to our next technique, next scheme, that is called frequency shift keying, that is FSK. Now in this it's a bit different than ASK and PSK. Okay, so for generation of FSK, we will assume you have done non-return zero type of coding, means your voltage levels are either positive or either negative, but it's not zero. Okay, so this will be the circuit part. So you will send your digital signal into the circuit called VCO, voltage controlled oscillator, which will convert the input signal into input voltage to frequency. Okay, so what we will get at the output is, what we will send is, when you want to send bit 1, you will send AC cos 2 pi f1t, and when you send bit 0, you send S2t, that is AC cos 2 pi f2t. Okay, these are the two signals you will send in the send through the transmitter. Okay, so whatever the digital signal will come, the voltage signal will converted into a frequency signal, and that frequency signal, the cosine of that frequency signal will be sent for 1, and cosine of that another frequency signal will be sent as 0. Okay, now this is same as what we had before, but here the difference is only in the frequency. The amplitudes are same, the only difference we have is frequencies. So f1 is generally greater than f2, and they are in megahertz, both f1 and f2, because they has to be, they should be of high frequency, because it's a band pass transmission, and in band pass you convert the signal into high frequency signal and you send wirelessly. So that is how you frame FSK. Okay, so you have the signal, digital signals, you converted the voltage levels into frequency, and then you send the cosine of that frequency for 1, and cosine of the another frequency at 0. Okay, so this will be the waveforms. So let's say you have message signal 1010, so NRZ will be represented by this, where this is your 0 volt. Okay, now how your FSK signal will look like. See, when you were sending 1, this is a high frequency signal, you can see, and when you are sending 0, this is a low frequency signal, you can see. Again, when you are sending 1, high frequency, sending 0, low frequency. And the closeness, the more the close these cycles are, the higher the frequency. If they are less close, means you are having low frequency. More specifically, how you can differentiate, you can see this is the bit period. In 1 bit period, you can see there are 4 cycles, means it is high frequency, and in this when you are sending 0, in 1 bit period you have only 2 cycles. So okay, that's how you can figure out whether it is high frequency or not. So if you can see, the similar to ASK and PSK, in 1 TB, this is your S1T and this is your S2T. Okay, so in 1 TB you are sending 4 clock pulses of 4 time periods of carrier signal. So 4 TC1 here you have written. Okay, so if you will rewrite it, F1 will come out to be 4 RB. Similarly, in 1 TB, for S2T, in 1 TB you have 2 time periods of carriers signals. So you wrote 2 TC2 is equal to TB, means F2T is equal to 2 RB. So you can see these two frequencies are different and F1 is greater than F2. Okay, so that's how you can see the waveforms. And if you will generalize these expressions, in general F1 will be N1 RB and F2 is equal to N2 RB, where RB is your bit rate, N1 N2 is bits per sample, and F1 F2 are frequency of the FSK signals. F1 is sending frequency of sending 1, and f2 is frequency of sending 0, and generally n1 is greater than n2, so that f1 will also be greater than f2. So that's how you imagine frequency shift keying. So let's look at the receiver section of frequency shift keying. So this is the block diagram for receiver section of frequency shift keying. So this is your FSK. For bit 1 it is S1T, that is AC cos 2 pi F1T, and for the bit 0 it is S2T, AC cos 2 pi F2T. Okay, this is the FSK signal coming to the receiver. Now you have a multiplier, you have a local oscillator that is generating a cosine signal with F2 frequency, and this is generating cosine signal with F1 frequency. Both will get multiplied, the signal will get multiplied. If S1T will come, this both the multiplier will multiply their corresponding cosine signal with the S1T. If S2T will come, both the multiplier will multiply AC cos 2 pi F2T and AC cos 2 pi F1T to S2T. Okay, so in case of bit 1, if you are coming, means S1 is coming, the output of multiplier will be AC square cos 2 pi F1T and cos 2 pi F2T, cos 2 pi F2T AC square, and then cos 2 pi F1T if bit 1 will come from here. And similarly the output of here will be, if bit 1 will come, AC square cos square 2 pi F1T. Okay, then the low pass filter output will be AC square divided by 2, and in this case it will be 0. Okay, now when bit 0 will come, then the output of the multiplier here will be AC square cos square 2 pi F2T, and here for bit 0 AC square cos 2 pi F1T cos 2 pi F2T. Okay, so this will be the output in the case of S2T. Now the low pass filter outputs will be 0 volt and AC square divided by 2. Now these signals when get to the summer, what you will get, either you will get AC square divided by 2 or minus AC square divided by 2, because of this minus sign here. This minus AC square divided by 2 will come from here, AC square divided by 2 will come, and for 0 volt it will cancel out. Okay, plus minus. So now your threshold comparator, how it will compare? If bit 1 was transmitted, here the input might be AC square, input will be AC square divided by 2, and if bit 0 was transmitted, here the input will be minus AC square divided by 2. So the threshold voltage will be 0 volt. If it is above 0 volt, means it will consider 1 was transmitted, it will detect 1 was transmitted. If it is below, the V in is below 0 volt, bit 0 was transmitted. Okay, that's how you recover. So in case of this V in, when 1 was transmitted, this will be AC square divided by 2, which is greater than 0, means 1 greater than equal to 0, means 1 was transmitted. Okay, and when you have this bit 0 was transmitted, this value will be your V in, which is less than 0 volt, which means 0 was transmitted. Okay, so it is similar to what you had before in ASK PSK, just you are doing it 2 times, one for bit 1 and one for bit 2. Okay, so that is how you recover your signal, original message, digital message signal from FSK signal. Okay. One more thing I want to mention here, FSK demodulator also suffers quadrature null effect. Okay, means these frequencies, if they are having some phase differences, again same thing will happen, and quadrature, these are also suffer with quadrature null effect. So that is why synchronization is needed, and in both local oscillators it is needed. So let's look at the transmission bandwidth of frequency shift keying. Okay, so when you are transmitting one, you are transmitting S1t means AC cos 2 pi F1t. So the Fourier transform, it you can imagine like this. This is the frequency axis, 0 positive frequency axis. Now you will see this is centered around F1, which is the same frequency of the S1 cosine signal of S1t, and the bandwidth will be Fc plus 1 by TB F1 and F1 plus 1 by TB F1 minus 1 by TB. So this will be the bandwidth when you will send bit 1. If you will send bit 2, you will have different frequency F2, and F1 was greater than F2, that is why it will be the same signal but shifted a bit on the 0 side. Okay, so you can see because the F1 is greater than F2, it will look like same but it will be slightly shifted in the left side. Okay, so you will have maximum frequency is F1 plus 1 by TB and minimum frequency is F2 minus 1 by TB. So our bandwidth will be F1 plus 1 by TB this minus F2 minus 1 by TB this. So this will come out to be F1 minus FH plus 2 RB. Okay, so this is the bandwidth of FSK. Now one thing I want to tell you is it's not necessary that you keep F1 greater than F2. F2 can also be greater than F1. So in that case this thing will come somewhere here, slightly shifted right with respect to this signal, and in that case maximum will be F2 plus 1 by TB and minimum will be F1 minus 1 by TB. The only difference you will get is F2 minus F1 plus 2 RB. So okay, so it depends upon what is the frequency chosen and which is the higher one, and that's how you can plot and you can calculate the bandwidth. But generally what happens is F1 is greater than F2, you can see. So this kind of FSK bandwidth will come out to be like this. Okay, and one more thing I want to mention here, the higher frequency is sometimes called as Mach frequency. F is equal to Mach frequency, and the lower frequency is called as space frequency. Okay, this is sometimes you call these terms as like this. The higher one, the frequency which is higher one, you call it a Mach frequency, and the lower one you call it as space frequency. Okay, so this is the terms used for these two general. Now let's look at the energy per bit of frequency shift keying. So when you are transmitting one, you are transmitting AC cos 2 pi F1t. So you will calculate the energy of this. So this can also calculated as P into T, power into time. So power is AC square divided by 2 into time is your bit interval, AC square divided by 2 TB. Similarly for bit 0, you can calculate the energy of this signal AC cos 2 pi F2t, that is P into T, AC square divided by 2 into TB. This is same as before what you did. The thing is actually the amplitude will not change if you will change the frequency of the signal. That is why your energy per bit is same for 1 and for 0 as well. So let's look at the constellation diagram of frequency shift keying. So for bit 1 we are transmitting AC cos 2 pi F1t, and for bit 0 we are transmitting AC cos 2 pi F2t. We can replace the AC by under root 2 EB by TB, under root 2 EB by TB here also. So cos 2 pi F1t, cos 2 pi F2t. Now we take out under root EB outside, so your signal will look like this, where F1 is N1 RB, F2 is N2 RB, don't forget this. Now this part under root 2 by TB into cos 2 pi F1t and under root 2 by TB cos 2 pi F2t, these are my unit energy functions. So I'll write phi 1 t for this guy and phi 2 t for this guy. Okay, so under root EB is same. So that's how I represent in the constellation diagram. So this is my phi 1 t and this axis is my phi 2 t. This axis is my phi 1 t. So amplitude is under root 2 here under root 2, under root EB is your amplitude, under root EB is amplitude here, and this is your S1t, this is your S2t, this constellation point, this constellation points. Now two things we calculate, first is energy and second is the distance between signal points. That is, energy is EB, the distance is square, that is under root EB square, and here also it is under root EB square, that is why energy will be EB, and the distance you can calculate by Pythagoras theorem, d12 square is equal to under root EB square plus under root EB square, that comes out to be under root 2 EB. Okay, so these are the things. The only change is previously you had only one unit function, unit energy function, now you have two, and you plot in the perpendicular direction like this. Okay. Okay, so I will summarize now ASK, PSK and FSK. So what we saw the distance between signaling points were maximum in case of PSK, then in FSK, then ASK. It was 2 under root 2 EB, under root 2 EB and under root EB. So maximum is for PSK and minimum is for ASK. Now why we are calculating this distance between signaling point? Because it helps in calculating probability of error. So the more the distance will be, the lesser will be the probability of error. So in this case we can see the probability of error will be higher for ASK, then for PSK, and then for FSK, and then for PSK. Okay, so that will be the order. And in general, if you want to imagine how D is affecting the probability of error, so you can take these two examples. So in this case you can see this is your energy axis. Okay, so in this case, let's say your signal points are here and here, so this will be the distance between signaling points, so I'm calling it as D2. And in this case you can see this is the distance between these two signaling points, that is D1. And here you can see the distance is far much higher for D1 than D2, means D1 is very greater than D2. So for this case you can see the D2 will have since D2 is less, the probability of error will be high, and for D1, since the distance is higher, the probability of error is less. So you can imagine like the closer the signal points will be, there are high chances of getting error. If they will be separated far enough so that there is less chances of error, the channel will corrupt them in such way that you won't be able to recognize the actual signal. Okay, maybe this will be 0 and this will be 1 because of channel error. Because of channel, the error came and this became 1 and this became 0. So this kind of things happens when you will go for more number of value of n, the small of n, and then you face these kind of problems. And usually what we try to keep signal distance as far as possible, so that probability of error will be lesser and lesser. Okay, so that is the way to, in general, you imagine how distance between signal points affects probability of error. Okay, so this is the nice way. Now the next thing I want to mention here is bandwidth. You saw bandwidth for FSK was 2 RB plus F1 minus F2, or 2 RB plus F2 minus F1, depends which one is greater. Okay, and for PSK and ASK it was 2 RB. So this was equal and this was greater, since F1 minus F2 is a positive quantity, so bandwidth of FSK is greater. So I've made a table. This column is bandwidth, this column is probability of error, this row is ASK, this row is PSK, and this row is FSK. So you can see in case of ASK, bandwidth is 2 RB, which is okay, and probability of error is maximum, that is not okay. Similarly for FSK you will see for bandwidth it is not okay, but for probability of error it is okay, it is coming in the center. But for the PSK, if you will see, you will have the lesser bandwidth and you will have the minimum probability of error. That is why this case is preferred usually. Whenever you do the digital signaling or digital modulation technique or digital signaling techniques, schemes, you go for by phase shift keying. Because of these reasons, the probability of error will be very less, and you will have significant bandwidth you can afford. Like, that is why this signaling technique is usually preferred. Okay, and you go for higher number of value of small n in this case only, because this is the preferred scheme. So this is the summary I wanted to give about ASK, PSK, FSK. Later we will see now what will happen if you increase the number of n, means you increase the bits per sample. So what will happen, and yeah, okay, yeah.